Hello my dear students, I am Pratibha Daya from the English class and today we will discuss a poem for students of class 10, first flight book, poem number 3, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. In this poem we will discuss stanza-wise explanation and stanza-wise literary device. Outline of our video is poet, introduction, recitation, briefing, glossary and explanation, rhyming scheme and literary device and conclusion. Let's start. Poet of this poem is George Leslie Norris. 1921-2006 was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writers of the post-war period and his literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Winter, etc. Introduction of the poem. The poem, written by Leslie Norris, explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. The poem has two distinct settings. The first setting is that of the zoo where the tiger is put in a cage. The second setting is that of a natural wild habitat of the tiger which should have been in his real place. The difference between a tiger in a zoo and in a forest is huge, as in the former it is a caged animal who has lost its freedom, whilst in the latter it is independent and supreme. The tiger is the king of the forest. It is born free. It roams about the forest roaring regally. It enjoys its supremacy as all animals are afraid of it. It is thus wildly royal. In the zoo, however, it is a trapped animal. It is like a king in fetters, a king without a kingdom. It can no longer enjoy hunting. It is more like a circus clown, a sheer spectacle. It is bound by the rules and regulations of the zookeeper. Lost is its suzerainty and dignity. It is just a puppet king. Students, let's recite the poem A Tiger in the Zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his gaze, on pads of velvet quiet. In his quiet race, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. Near the water hole, where plump deer pass, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Briefing of the poem. This poem begins with a description of a tiger that is very beautiful and is walking in his little cage. He has beautiful stripes on his skin and has velvet-like soft paws, but the tiger is not happy and is quite angry about being confined in the cage. The poet says that if the tiger was not confined in the zoo cage, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body in order to catch its prey, that is the deer. Also, he would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. But the reality is, totally opposite to this. He was confined in a cage which was made up of strong building material, and he was helpless there. He could not show his power to the visitors. Therefore, never try to terrorize them. The tiger is described as being powerless and agonized by the poet. He says that during night time also he is alone, hearing the voice of the patrolling vehicles of the police and looking at the stars. The cage life has totally changed the tiger's personality. The poet is trying to say that the animal, which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom, is confined and sad due to the human being who wants to derive pleasure by looking at him in the zoo. Students, first of all, we will do glossary of the poem. Stalks follows walking slowly. Vivid, bright colored, very lively. Pets, paws of tiger. Raise, anger. He stalks in his vivid stripes. The few steps of his gaze on pads of velvet quiet. In his quiet race. Here the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of the cage. He is angry because he is not free. Waterhole, a small pool of water, sliding, moving, plump, chubby, fat, lurking, to be hidden as to wait for your prey, hiding. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. The poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water body so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger is in the cage, cannot do so. Snarling, warning sounds made by animals, baring, uncovered, showing, fangs, sharp tooth of animal, terrorizing, creating fear, claws, nails. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Concrete building made of sand and cement, stalking, striding, walking up and down, strength, power, ignoring, paying no attention. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars. He just stalks in his cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because His power is restricted by the case. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. Last voice at night, the voice heard at night. Patrolling cars, cars which patrol or keep watch, stairs, looking at something for long, brilliant eyes, very bright eyes. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that in the night time, the tiger hears the sound of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So, in the night the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad and he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. He stares at the brilliant stars because they are shining freely in the sky, and he is caged. That's why he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. The poem A Tiger in the Zoo consists of 5 stanzas, each is made up of 4 lines. In this poem, rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. In these stanzas, all the red highlighted words like stripes, shadow, houses, we can write as A. Next is yellow highlighted words case, raise, grass, pass, edge, village, we can write as B. And next is blue highlighted words quite, whole and clause, we can write as C. Then our rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. In these stanzas, all the red highlighted words cell and night we can write as A. Bars, visitors, cars and stars, yellow highlighted words we can write as B. Case and eyes we can write as C. Then our rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. After rhyming scheme, now we will do literary device. Our first literary device is personification. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he. And next is repetition, velvet, quiet, quiet raise. Here quiet word is repeating 2 times. That's why repetition here. And next is metaphor. Tiger's paws are compared with velvet, pads of velvet. So metaphor. And next is enjambment. Sentence is continuing to next line without any punctuation mark. Here line 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes. No punctuation mark here. That's why enjambment. Our next literary device is consonance. Consonance is when a consonant sound is repeating, but sometime at the starting of the word, sometime middle of the word and sometime ending of the word. And here use of S sound like stalks, his, stripes. And next is that is imagery. Here poet tries to create an image about the tiger. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his gaze. And next is assonance. The prominence of a vowel sound throughout a line is called assonance. And here use of vowel sound and that is I in his vivid stripes. Next literary device is enjambment. When line continues to next line without punctuation mark, here sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Our next literary device is that is alliteration. The repetition of the consonant sound at the beginning of 2 or more consecutive of the closely placed words. Here use of sound P at the start of 2 words plump, pass. And next is imagery. The poet has tries to create an image of tiger's activities lurking in shadow. So imagery here. Next literary device we have enjambment. When line continues to next line without punctuation mark, here he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. And next is onomatopoeia is a figure of speech in which words evokes the actual sound of the thing they refers to or describe. Here snarling denotes sound. And next is assonance, use of vowel sound o, for example should, around, houses, and sound I, bearing, his, white, his. And next is consonants, use of consonant sound s, for example his, fangs, his, claws. Next literary device we have personification. The personification of the tiger is evident as the poet calls him as he and not it. And next is assonance, use of vowel sound e, he, logged, concrete, cell. And next is consonants, use of consonant sound s, here, his, strength, bars. And next is alliteration, use of sound b, b at the start of two words behind bars. Next literary device we have enjambment. Line 3 continues to line 4 without any punctuation mark and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. And next is alliteration, use of sound h in the starting of two words he hears. And next is assonance, use of I sound with his, brilliant. And next is repetition, brilliant eyes, brilliant stars. Here brilliant word is repeated, that's why repetition. Conclusion of this poem is animals like to live freely in the forest. The animals do not want to live in the zoo. Their life is pitiable in it. In this poem, the poet is conveying an important message that wild animals should be in their natural habitat. This poem contrasts a tiger when it is in its natural habitat and when it is imprisoned in a zoo. The message conveyed by the poem is that just like humans, animals too long for freedom and do not like being caged, but they are not allowed to live freely in their natural space. The animals long for their freedom and space. The tiger in this poem wishes to go back to his natural space where he would enjoy his freedom, but has been captivated by the humans in the zoo for their recreation. And this we come to end of this video. I hope you understood the glossary, meaning of the poem and literary devices used here very well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it will be useful to you. Make sure if you have any suggestion and comments, feel free to write in the comment section, and for more videos, like and subscribe my channel The English Slugs, your key to English, and don't forget to hit the bell icon.